Imagine a story you've been told your whole life, a beautiful fairy tale. Now imagine someone shows you a few old pictures, and suddenly that fairy tale doesn't seem so true anymore. It's like finding a secret chapter in a book you thought you knew by heart. These pictures, they might change everything you thought you knew about a very famous person. They might show a hidden side, a different path, long before the prince and the palace. And when pictures like that come out, people start asking big questions. What else don't we know? What was hidden, and why? No one thought Piers Morgan would do what some folks say he did on TV. Not his fans, not people who didn't like him, and for sure not the helpers who tried to make Meghan Markle look good all the time. But some people say that during his show, Piers didn't just complain about Meghan like he usually does. This time, they say he came ready with proof. He showed pictures that were supposedly taken off the internet a long time ago. Pictures that some people allegedly worked very hard to hide forever. These pictures weren't from when she was a royal. They weren't from fancy movie parties either. They were supposedly from her time at Soho House, a private club. These were from secret parties, special get-togethers, and late-night events that Meghan herself has never wanted to talk about in public. And when those pictures allegedly showed up on the screen, people who saw them said one thing right away: this is not the Meghan we were told about. For many years, people have been told a story, a nice, simple fairy tale. Meghan Markle, the hardworking actress who just sort of found her way into royal life like it was meant to be. But these alleged photos show a very different story. A Meghan who wasn't just finding her way by chance. A Meghan who was already standing exactly where rich and powerful men could see her. And the biggest question of all hit everyone hard. If these photos are real, why were they hidden for so long? To get why these pictures mattered, you have to see how different they are from what we know. The Meghan Markle most people know is from nice interviews and soft-looking TV shows. She's the girl who said she didn't have much money growing up, worked hard to become an actress, and lived simply even when her TV show, Suits, started paying her lots of money. She's the woman who wanted to help others, write a blog about lifestyle, and do good things for people. It's a sweet story, easy to believe, easy to like. But the alleged pictures tell a quieter, sharper story, one that has always been there in the background, but never really came out. People who claim they saw the photos say Meghan was at private Soho House parties with rich men all around her. Not just walking by, but looking comfortable and natural, right in the middle of special groups that most people will never get to be a part of in their whole lives. This is not how regular actresses spend their nights. This is not how someone with Meghan's reported income gets into private clubs where even very famous people can't get in. Somewhere along the way, Meghan was in rooms where super-rich people and powerful leaders gathered. Rooms that fit the kind of life she lived, but not the kind of life she told everyone about. And that's where the problem starts. Because if the Meghan in the alleged pictures was going to these fancy places long before she met Harry, and if her public story left all that out, then the question isn't so much about what she did, but why she wanted everyone to forget it. To understand the big puzzle, you need to know what Soho House really is. It's not just a restaurant, or a hotel, or a simple club. Soho House is like a special gate, and only certain people get through it. These are clubs just for members all over the world. Each one has quiet rules that keep out anyone who might cause trouble or draw too much attention. The person who started it famously said they don't give memberships to people who cause drama, get followed by photographers, or cause big news stories. But somehow Meghan, who was then an actress on a TV show with only a small number of fans, could get into many Soho House places in London, Toronto, New York, and other cities. And not just as a visitor. Harry's own book says she called it her headquarters. She kept her bags there. She knew the workers. She moved through the buildings like she belonged there. Even super famous people like Kim Kardashian and Kobe Bryant were not allowed to join. Yet, Meghan walked in easily. And with that one detail, the story starts to crack open. Soho House is not a place you just pop into. Someone has to say you're okay. Someone has to open the door for you. Someone has to say she gets to come in. And that one question, who opened the door for Meghan Markle, is what ties the alleged photos, the powerful groups, and the hidden past into one story. Because anyone who gets into Soho House without being famous or super rich doesn't get in by accident. They get in because someone powerful wanted them there. Now we get to the part of the story where everything starts to make sense. The person who connects all the dots. His name shows up again and again in quiet talks and in pictures, always standing next to Meghan Markle like a shadow that never leaves. Marcus Anderson. To understand Meghan's quick rise into these special social groups, you must understand Marcus, because he wasn't just a friend. He wasn't just someone she met at a party. He was the boss of who got to be a member at Soho House all over the world. He was the man who literally decided who got into those secret rooms and who stayed locked outside forever. And somehow, Meghan was always on the inside. People who know about this network say Marcus is the person who quietly lets the world's most powerful people in. He opens doors for the chosen few. He helps people meet each other. He decides which new stars get to meet billionaires and big leaders in different jobs. It's a job that needs trust, not from the public, but from the people who really run things behind the scenes. And Meghan didn't just know Marcus. He supposedly followed her from Los Angeles to Toronto to New York to London to California. Again and again, city after city, Marcus appeared, not just visiting by chance, but in a way that looked planned, connected, and smart. People say friendships usually don't work like that. Bosses with big jobs don't move their whole lives just to stay near an actress on a TV show, unless their friendship was not normal, unless his part in her life was more than just being a simple friend. And when you add the old rumor that Marcus introduced Meghan to Prince Harry, suddenly all the pieces start to fit together, because Meghan's rise wasn't sudden, it wasn't messy, it was steady, planned, guided. The kind of rise that doesn't happen all by itself. But there's another part to this story, one that goes past Soho House and into an even quieter world, the world of private boats, fancy parties, and rich men who like their get-togethers away from cameras. A man named Christopher Jones shows up here. Some people say he claimed he worked on yachts during the same time Meghan supposedly did. He said their time in that world crossed paths. Now, to be clear, not every story about yachts is bad. Some actresses get invited to meet people. Some go to make friends in the movie business. Some go because it's simply a chance to be seen in special places. But these claims matter because of a pattern. We have Meghan showing up in special social groups before she was famous. Meghan getting into places way above what her money should allow. Meghan supposedly pictured with rich, older men. Meghan connected to a Soho House director who knew everyone in that world. Add the yacht trips to that pattern, and suddenly her social standing before Harry looks less like luck and more like a planned climb. Writers who study how celebrities and yachts are linked have talked about a system where actresses who are becoming famous date rich people, making connections that can change their jobs forever. And Meghan's name has come up in that idea more than once. Some of the yacht photos online were shown to be pictures of other women. That's true. But the whispers never went away because the network itself is real, and Meghan's known links to that world kept people asking questions. And when questions keep coming back again and again, it's usually for a reason. Now we get to one of the most telling parts of this whole story. Meghan Markle is known for being very careful about how she looks to the public. She has sued newspapers. She has complained about TV hosts. She has asked for changes, clear explanations, and for stories she didn't like to be completely taken down. She does not let things go. And yet some people say that when Piers Morgan allegedly showed those Soho House photos on TV, something odd happened. Silence. No, it's not true. No statement, no letter from a lawyer, no threat to sue. Nothing. For someone who cares so much about her public image as Meghan, the quiet was louder than anything she could have said. Because usually when a public person says something is false, they say it fast and strong. They stop it before it gets around. They take it to court if they need to. But when someone says nothing, it brings up a different question entirely. Is the quiet a plan? Or is it saying that fighting back would only make more people look at something she never wanted people to see in the first place? In this moment, this quiet, unexplained silence is where the story stops being just a rumor and starts becoming something else, something more serious, something that shows more. Because for the first time, the past she supposedly tried to hide had stepped out from the shadows, and this time, it wasn't so easy to hide. Before all the royal drama, before opera, before TV shows and podcasts, Meghan Markle met Piers Morgan for a simple drink in 2016. A friendly chat, nothing more. They talked for over an hour. Piers thought they were becoming real friends, a professional friendship, maybe even like a teacher and student. But what happened next is what Piers has never forgotten. The very next night, Meghan didn't just go out again. She went straight to Soho House, had dinner with Prince Harry, and then was gone from Piers's life forever. No message, no reason why, no thank you, just complete quiet. For most people, being ignored like that is annoying. For Piers Morgan, it became personal. Because after that night, things got big very fast. Meghan became famous all over the world. Her relationship with Harry became public. The palace said they were together, and Piers realized he had been cut off the minute she met someone more important. Then came the interview with Oprah. Then came Piers's public complaints. Then came so much anger directed at him that he walked off his own show Live on TV and lost his job. It didn't stop there. Meghan herself complained about him to the TV company, which was part of why he never came back. So when people heard Piers supposedly showed those photos, they didn't see just a random attack. They saw a man who had been waiting years for a moment like this. A man who felt tricked, shamed, and pushed out, finally holding what he thought was proof that Meghan wasn't who she said she was. This wasn't just a small part of a show. This was a score being settled. Once you put all the pieces on the table, the photos, the entry to special places, the groups, the introductions, the silence, a different picture starts to form, one that doesn't look like an accident, one that doesn't look like fate or luck or fairy tales. People who have watched Meghan's rise closely talk about a pattern of careful learning and smart placement. Meghan grew up acting, learning about characters, watching people. And some say she used that same skill to be exactly the person she needed to be at every stage of her life. When she got into special rich groups, she quickly learned how to fit in. When she got into royal groups, she learned again. Some people even claimed she acted like Princess Diana in some ways. How she moved her hands, how she showed feelings, even how she connected with Harry. Whether that is true or not, the pattern is the same. Every new place she went into, she learned how to fit in perfectly. And that is why the alleged Soho House photos caused such a big stir, because they hint that her story didn't start with Harry. It didn't start with the palace. Her climb may have begun many years earlier, inside a world she has never talked about in public, a world she may have tried to leave behind. Every fairy tale has two sides. There is the shiny version, the one written for everyone to admire, full of light, hope, and good luck. And then there is the version that lives behind the curtain, the one made by choices, friendships, chances, and secrets that were never supposed to be told. The story of Meghan Markle has always been told as the first version, the brave actress who found love with a prince, the outsider who became a royal, the woman who changed the system and told her own story. But when those alleged photos showed up, even for a moment, the second version peeked out, a version built long before Harry, a version made inside private rooms, special groups, and quiet introductions, a version helped by people the public has never seen in places she has never talked about. And if those parts of her past are real, then the fairy tale starts to wobble. Not because of a scandal, not because of rumors, but because it becomes clear that the life Meghan showed to the world might not be the life she actually lived. The question now isn't whether the photos matter, it's what they mean. Because if this part of her story was hidden, if these groups were part of her world long before she became a royal, if her climb was helped by a network she never talked about, then what else is behind the curtain? What else was meant to be found out? The fairy tale isn't over, not by a long shot. But the bright lights on the stage are moving, and the truth, whatever it turns out to be, is coming out little by little, picture by picture, moment by moment. And once the truth starts to come out, it never goes back into the dark.